Hello viewers, this is Nobel Shah. Once again welcome you all to my Linux tutorials. Today we are going to discuss about LVM partition, which is very important topics for our Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So LVM actually stands for Logical Volume Manager, which helps us to create logical volumes from one single drive, and we can assign different size as we want to create different disk. If you are familiar with Windows, you already know that there is a very similar options in Windows as well, which is called primordial disk. That means when you get a raw disk of like 20 GB, you can use the option like Logical Volume Manager that will help you to create different disk of different size from that particular 20 GB hard disk. So you got only one hard disk which is 20 GB. You can create several disks of different size from that single disk. So that is actually the concept of LVM. So let's start. To create the LVM, we actually go through some processes. Like the first thing we need to do is we need to create the physical volume, and prior to that we need to create and configure the partitions so that we can create LVM partitions. So first thing we need to use the fdix utility, fdix command, to create partitions, and then number 2 we will use pvcreate command to create the physical volume, which will create physical volume, and then we will use vgcreate command that will create volume group, and then we will create lv logical volume by using this command, which is lvcreate, that will create logical volume. So assume we have a requirement which is we need to extend the size of LVM partition to 30. Okay, 30 extended size will be 30, and then physical extend size may be 16 megabyte. So if we create a logical volume based on this requirement, we will see that there will be 30 extended size of logical volume, and in total the size will be occupied 30 into 16, which means 418 MB. Okay, and then the volume group name will be, say, Asia, volume group name Asia, and then the logical volume name will be like Bangladesh. Okay, so based on this, let's create a logical volume. So from here, the first thing we can check our disk, which disk currently we have, which one we need to configure. So to do that, you can use this command, which is fdix space -l, and hit enter. You will get the disk information, all the disk you currently have in your system. I got one which is I can see disk dev SDB, which is 3 GB actually, and then another one which is dev SDA, which is 17.2 GB. So the one which is 3 GB, it is actually not the physical hard disk, that is dev SDA. The dev SDA is the physical hard disk, and I have actually added an additional hard disk which is dev SDB of 3 GB. So we will configure the one I have added, which is dev SDB. So to do that, use this command fdisk and then dev then SDB. Look at here, the name is dev SDB, the one we are going to create partition. So make sure you typed it correctly, fdisk dev SDB, and then hit enter. So here is the options. From here you can use the commands that will create the partitions. Okay, so it is saying look, device does not contain a required partitions table, building a new DOS disk label with disk identifier, command M for help. So if we press M and hit enter, we will see a list of help options like what A does, what B does, what C does. Okay, so look, if we press L, that will show us the list known partition types. So press L and hit enter. Look, here we can see the partition types, all the partition types. For example, the default one is Linux, which is 83 ID, and then Linux swap is 82, and if we say the Linux LVM, which is 80, that one will be needed for us because we are going to create the Linux LVM partition. So remember this code, which is 8E. Okay, and you can use M options once again to check another options. Like to change the partition system ID, we will use this option, which is T, and then if we want to configure it to Linux LVM, we need to use 8E, code 8E, which is for Linux LVM. And if you want to convert it to like swap, you will have to use 82, which is for Linux swap. So to create a new partition, we have a option which is N. So look, here it is saying add a new partition. So just press N and then hit enter. So now it is asking which type of partition you are going to create. Either it will be primary or it will be extended. So as we know, we can have maximum of 4 primary partitions in a single disk, and extended, if you create extended partition, from that you can logical volumes as much as you want. So for the sake of this video, I am going to use the P option first, which will create a primary partition, and then use the number which will be 1 to 4, because primary partitions maximum you can create 4 primary partitions, so number will be 1 to 4. Look, here it is saying default one. So if you type nothing and just hit enter, it will actually take the default one. Okay, and then first sector, for this option you just hit enter, and here you specify the size of the partition, how much space it will consume. So for this video, I'm taking like plus 2G, okay, 2 gigabyte. So plus 2G means we are going to create a primary partition. The partition number is 1 and the size will be 2 gigabyte. Okay, and then hit enter. So our first primary partition is created. If we press P, we will see that, just press P and hit enter, that will show you the partition you have created, which is dev SDV1, and the partition size is around 2 GB. Okay, and the system is Linux. So to change the system, to Linux LVM, as we are going to create the LVM partition, we need to change the type, system type, which is Linux LVM. You can use a command which is T. So for changing the partition system partition type, just press T and hit enter, and now it is saying the code for the LVM partition that we are going to create, which is 8E. You can type here 8E and then hit enter. Okay, so look, it is saying changed the type of partition, which is Linux to Linux LVM. If you want to recheck once again, just type P and hit enter. You can see now it is saying the system is Linux LVM. Okay, and that is all. Our first primary partition is created and the type also has been changed to Linux LVM. Now to get the effect, okay, to get the effect you need to use another option, which is W, that will actually write the partitions that you created. Okay, so press W and hit enter. So look, here it is saying the partition table has been altered, and okay, and the syncing disks. So our partition table has been altered. The partition we already created, which is dev HDB1, that affected our partition table. And another command is part probe, that will give you the immediate effect of your partition that you created. If you do not use part probe, still it will work when you will restart your computer. So without restarting your computer, if you want the effect of the partition that you created, you need to use this command, which is part probe, and hit enter. Okay, so our first task is done, which is the creating of a partition and the system type changed. Okay, let me clear the window using the clear command. Now we are going to create the first requirement of LVM, which is PV create. Okay, first thing we have done, the partition create, we created the partitions. Now we are going to create the physical volume. Okay, so to create the physical volume, we can use this command, which is PV create, and then the partition name, which is dev, the partition name that we created earlier. If you want to check the partition name once again, you can use the fdisk option once again to make sure what is the partition name. So look, here you can see the partition name is dev HDB1. So you can, if you want, you can copy it and you can paste it here, PV create, and then paste it. You can always type, but sometimes to avoid the spell mistake, you can paste it like this. So PV create and then a dev and then HDB1 and then hit enter. So it is saying that physical volume dev HDB1 successfully created. Okay, now if we want to go to our next step, which is VG create, volume group create, but we have a condition here in volume group. The first condition is it is saying that the extended size will be 30 and the physical extent size may be 16 mm. So physical extent size means what will be the size of physical extent that we will actually configure in our volume group name. Okay, and another requirement is the name, volume group name will be Asia. Okay, so to do that, what we can do, we can use this command, which is VG create and then -s, which is for size, and the size we said it will be 16 m. So we are typing here 16 m, 16 megabyte of size, and then the VG name, what will be the VG name? So So we said the VG name will be Asia, and then from where it will be created, the path of the device. So dev, which is SDV1, okay, and then hit enter. So it is saying that our volume group Asia successfully created. So the last thing we need to do is logical volume create. So the way we created PV, physical volume, and volume group, the same way we can create the logical volume by using this command, which is LV create, and then by using -n option you can specify the name of the logical volume. That will be, in our case, Bangladesh, and then you can specify the extent. Okay, so here we said the extended size will be 30, so we can assign here the extended size is 30, and then the VG name, from where it will be created. Okay, so remember, the logical volume actually created based on the volume group, and the volume group actually created based on the physical volume. So we need to create the physical volume first, and then the volume groups, and then we can only create the LV or logical volume. So let me type the volume group name, which is in our case Asia, and then hit enter. Okay, we can see that it is saying logical volume Bangladesh created. Now by using this command, which is LV display, you can check the information of your logical volume that you created. Look, we can see here it is saying the LV path, the logical volume path, and then I'm copying this because I need to paste it in a location in a minute, and then the LV name, which is Bangladesh, and then VG name, which is Asia, and then there is the UUID for this logical volume, and the write access, it is saying read write access, LV creation host, the machine name, here it is saying server10.power.com, and then obviously the date and time it is created, and then status, it is saying available, open, LV size, it is saying the LV size is 480 because we assigned the extent 30 and the size 16 megabyte, so it comes 480 megabyte. Okay, and then the extended is 30, and the segments 1 inherit currently set 2 block days. Okay, so that is the information you get from the LV display options. If you press if you type LV display and hit enter. Now if we want to extend the logical volume, like our main hard disk size that the partition we created, it was 2 GB. If we want, we can extend the logical volume whenever we want. Okay, so for example, now our LV size is 480. If we want to make it 800 megabyte, we can use this command, which is LV extend. LV extend for extended, to extend the volume, LV extend, and then the size will be specified, the capital L hyphen capital L, and the size say 800 M. So it will basically extend the size from 480 to 800 M, and then from where, the path of the LV. Okay, and then hit enter. Okay, so it is saying logical volume Bangladesh successfully resized. To get the effect, we need to use another command, which is resize to fs, resize to fs, and then the path of the logical volume, and then hit enter. So that magic number in super block by trying to open Dev Asia Bangladesh. Resize to FS Dev Asia Bangladesh. LV display. Okay, now look, we can see the LV size is 800 megabyte. So that is how we can extend the logical volume if we want. Okay, the same way, if you want to reduce, you have another command which is LV reduce, and then the size. To specify the size, you can specify in this way, -L, and then minus, say, 500 M. Okay, and then the path. So it is saying, do you really want to reduce Bangladesh? Press Y and then hit enter. Okay, it is resized. Once again, you can use LV display to check. Okay, it is saying the size is 304 megabyte now. Okay, so we actually reduced 500 from 800. Now it is showing 304 megabyte. Okay. So if you want to add some space with this LV, what you can do, you can use this option by using plus sign. Okay, LV extend and then -L plus 500 M. So what it will do, it will actually, or maybe it is say 1G. Okay, so what it will do, it will actually add 1 gigabyte of space with the existing 304 megabyte. Okay, hit enter. Press LV display once again, and now it is saying the size is 1.30 gigs. So that is how we can extend the logical volume size if we want. Okay, and now if we want to format the logical volume, we can use this option, which is mkfs.ext4. that will format this partition in ext4 format, and the path of the volume, which is dev/dev/asia/Bangladesh, and hit enter. Okay, that is all. The file system has been changed. Now if you want to mount it permanently in our system, you can use Vim. Okay, say Vim fstab Vim/etc/fstab. Okay, fstab. In fstab we can give an entry that will permanently mount this partition in this system. Okay, permanent mount means if you reboot your system, the partition will be still mounted in this system, and if you temporarily mount a drive, if you restart your machine, it will not show next time. So this is the difference between permanent and temporary mount. So to give a permanent entry here in fstab, we can use O option to go to the new line and type the path, which is in our case I'm pasting it because I already copied the path. So Dev Asia Bangladesh, and then the mounted folder where it will be mounted, the location of the mounted folder. In my case, I am mounting it in MNT directory, or maybe I can create a new directory if I want. Let me create a new directory, mkdir. Under root, I am creating a directory which is LV. Okay, so now we can give this entry like LV. Okay, that the volume will be mounted, and then the partition type, which is ext4, that we have formatted earlier, ext4, and then defaults space 0 space 0. Okay, so make sure you type the exactly the same way I have typed here to make it permanent, and then save and exit. Now if you use this command mount space hyphen a, that will mount permanently, and you have another option which is df hyphen h to check whether it is mounted properly or not. df space hyphen h, hit enter, and now you can see the one which is Dev Mapper Asia Bangladesh 1.3 G 3.9 M available over there. Okay, the one we actually mounted. Okay, so that is all about logical volume. This is how we can create logical volume. We can give permanent entry to our FS tab. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. In my next video I will discuss with you about swap partition, how to create swap partition and add it with our existing swap space, and how to give a permanent entry for swap in FS tab file. So till then, you guys take care. Bye bye.